I like our theme music. I don't know if that's intentionally. I don't know if that's like our theme music or if it's like Restream's theme music, but it's like it's nice. It's got like a what do they kids call it? It's a bop. It's very like it's got movement. And so
It does, and that's
yeah,
totally not my it is StreamYard. That
it's
is their
StreamYard. All right,
that is
StreamYard,
their
good job.
license. Yeah.
Good job. Yeah, it's been a minute.
Oh my
It's been a
god.
minute. It's interesting because I was thinking about, our conversation today and like the topic, which of course we'll get into a little bit more, but I was just thinking, I wonder this if this is why performers, artists, TV shows, sans, of course, a strike, go on hiatus in the summertime is because like we genuinely, I think, just creatively need the time to just rest and reset and restructure some things. And then it feels good when you come back because you feel like, okay, I'm ready. I've missed this. How have you been since the last time we sat down together?
I have been really good. I you are 3,000,000% right, I think. I think as an artist, I can speak for saying it's harder for musicians because people expect to have concerts in the summer. So
Yeah.
the expectation is, summer is usually a very high peak time for musicians, at least.
Yeah.
But still having the seasons to rest, whatever
Whatever.
season. And I took the season, and I love summer. And summer is ruled by Cancer. What's Cancer? Family, nurture yourself. So yeah, so I've had a great summer. I really did have
Good.
a really, really good summer to really connect with Kenya and friends and family. So I think I feel ready. I'm like, I think I'm ready now, in fall.
I think I'm
Try
ready.
still
Yeah,
trying
and
to
I
hold
feel
on.
like I I either have a summer cold or a winter cold. I usually only get sick
Oh.
twice a year. It's either right before the holidays or right around Labor Day. I don't know what that's about. I don't know cosmically, astrologically, if there's some higher divine explanation for it. But right around Labor Day weekend, when Beyonce took over Los Angeles, I did not go to the Beyonce concert.
She took
Uh,
over yes last year.
she took
She was
over Los
there
Angeles.
for
She was there for
several
like 4
days.
days. So
Yes.
she got here
Yes.
on Friday, she did not leave till Monday. Her birthday show was here and the whole thing. I know several friends and family members who went to multiple shows to see Beyonce. I did not go to any of them. One, I'm not really a crowd person. Two, as much as I love live music, big studio settings are not my forte. They're not my jam. But somehow other people that I know did go see Beyonce, and within 24 hours of interacting with them, I got sick. So I'm blaming Beyonce for my colds.
Oh, well, you
Call it
know
the
what?
Beyonce
I was
flu,
about to say, you
Renaissance
got
flu,
the bee
something.
flu. That's interesting. Well, while we're on Beyonce, now I did not get to see, I have seen her twice
Okay.
live, but I did not go to the Renaissance tour. But I don't think that we could possibly come back in this space and not take a moment to talk about the Renaissance tour, only because between her concert and what I'm told, Taylor Swift, those seem to be the two, like, wow, but definitely Beyonce will, given We Are Black, her story will give her some attention. But I mean, other than you getting sick after connecting with those who, what was the feedback from,
You
I mean, I'll
know,
share my people, but what was your people's feedback of the show?
Well, interestingly enough, I was supposed to go, meaning, so when you have a family like mine and you have sisters like Karma and Daria who were very adamant about going and they wanted to do this whole sister thing. We're all going to do a sister trip to the concert. And myself and Keola, not really big fans of Beyonce, but they took it upon themselves to get tickets for all of us to go. And so as the concert was building up and the days were counting down, I just kept expressing to them, I don't want to go see Beyonce. I don't care about buying a chrome outfit. These are not things. This is not my ministry. I do not feel called to do this. So what I did is send them off to the concert. My partner went, they had a great time.
Good.
They understood the assignment. They had outfits, they had wardrobe, they had hair, they had makeup, they had dance routines, they had everything ready. They had a blast. One of my sisters went twice. She went to the
Mm.
Saturday show and she went to the birthday show. And nothing but positive feedback. Of course, they love the visuals, they love the choreography, and seeing Blue Ivy come out. And then, of course, because it's an LA show, the last show, Kendrick Lamar came out and Diana Ross and all these things. And they said, Beyonce owes them nothing, as they say. They no complaints whatsoever. And as I was looking at their footage of what they filmed, I was just like, so many people, so many people. And then I was also thinking, if I was gonna go to a show like that, I want to be close enough to like see the sweat on her brow. I want to watch Beyonce on a screen at a concert with 75,000 people. But they had a blast. They had a blast. How about your people? What did they think about the
Yeah,
show?
same thing. Had an amazing I know I had a fair amount of people who saw her in Europe, who were traveling because actually her tickets were a lot cheaper in
In
Europe.
Europe? Yep.
And so by time they paid for their flight and stuff, it would have like added up to what it would have cost for them to get those original tickets here. So yes, same as yours. Just that I did not realize until like Chicago, they came hard here. I mean, they do everything hard here in Chicago, but she kicked off. I mean, Chicago was one of her earlier cities here in the States. And
Mhm.
my feed, my timeline on Facebook, I put a joke up and said, I saw the concert from my living room because so many people, but I listen, I am a lover of it, Beyonce. I actually now, I was not gonna spend. I had already put my concert budget because I did the whole Usher experience. And I was
Mm.
like, I'm not, but after seeing so much, I'm like, man, should I have gone? But I'm not, I wouldn't have dressed up and done all the things. But yeah,
It's
I've heard nothing but
nothing but
fabulous
good
feedback.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I got to see the last concert that I went to where I had floor seats was to see Janet Jackson when she was doing her residency in Vegas. We were 4 rows back from the stage in the folding chairs, and I felt like I got my whole life. It was definitely worth all of the things. We dressed up, we had outfits, and it was a whole thing. And I said to myself, that's the way I need to see every pop star, period. I need to get my whole life. I need to be four rows away from the stage. Otherwise, I'm not going. Otherwise, I don't want to go. I'll wait until they do an intimate show, until they get a residency in Las Vegas, which I think my theories on Beyonce, I give her 5 more years before we get
Yeah.
a residency in Las
Oh, she's
Vegas with her.
definitely I don't even think I don't think you need
It
to
might
give
not
her
even take
5
five
years.
years,
Yeah,
right? Exactly.
I
It might
think
be in the
maybe
next three.
2 to 3. Yeah. I was gonna say I would say 2 to 3.
Yeah.
It's a cushy job for her to have to make really easy money. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm definitely we'll move to the next subject and get into our topic, but I am opposite of you. I do not want to be anywhere near the floor seats. I don't want to be in no,
No?
because no, I don't like to be a floor. I like to be the level usually that's just above
Like
the
just above.
start of the angle. Yeah.
Okay.
So not right at the start of the angle, but just a
Hmm.
little bit above of the start of the angle. And that's just for me visually. I actually like to be able to kind of go in between screen, see the
Hmm.
dance, screen, dance. I know it's a whole thing. Anyway,
Yeah.
and also the sound and the people, because I know if I'm on the floor, I'm gonna have to stand the majority of the time. And a lot of times I
True.
just kind
Yeah.
of want to I just want to take it in.
You wanna have a
But
moment to sit, yeah, for, like, the ballads, you wanna sit down. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I can't do standing room only. Can't do standing room only.
nope, nope.
I need
I'm
the
done with that.
option of a chair, a folding chair, a stool, something, yeah. It's
I'm done with the standing room. That ended probably about 12 years ago. Like I'm
right,
done.
I feel like that's expired, unless they
That's
have comfortable shoes provided and a chef's mat, maybe,
It's
but
done. I see it says standing room only. Whoops. Okay, can't go to that. So, so
yeah,
yeah. Well,
yeah,
I'm
so
excited that you proposed this topic and welcome. We see Talisa Ray in the
what's up,
house.
Talisa? Yes, fall into
uh
change, yes, that's
yes.
beautiful. It is the season, I mean, we're almost we have about a week away before we officially move into the autumn season or fall, as some people call it. And we have another solstice, coming up. And when I think about this time of year, maybe schooling influences, but I think of like harvest time. I think of, of course, the leaves changing and there's transitions happening seasonally. But I also think of just harvesting a lot of the seeds that maybe we planted that have come full bloom that are ready for us to kind of take in and consume them. And when I thought about the topic of navigating change and embracing new beginnings, which seems like a double ask, you want me to navigate change and you want me to embrace new beginnings? I got to do both. But
Yep.
and I think the timing of our conversation too, are we not in like a new moon in Virgo
We
astrologically?
are correct. Tonight or today, I don't know the exact time, but it is a new moon in Virgo. I don't know if you know if like people are like, and then what does
They're
that
like, and then what
mean?
does that mean? So can you tell us, Kenya, a little bit about what this new moon in Virgo means
I
for us and how it kind of
absolutely
influences this navigation of change?
yeah. Yeah. Well, it was interesting you said harvest season and Virgo is actually the sign that rules harvest. It is what ushers it's what's considered a mutable sign. So it's kind of transitioning us from summer into fall, which means
Mhm.
we need to get ourselves in order. People make fun of Virgos because Virgos want the order and organization and precision. But as we are leaving that summer, which is and like you said, it's time to reset, get ourselves ready, getting focused. That's very Virgo-y energy.
Mm.
So the new moon is just basically like the new start. This is a really good time to do your intention work. Any new moon is the time. It's supposed to be a good time to set your intentions and whatever that intention may be, because Virgo is the energy, it's earth energy, it's grounding energy. Um, Stephanie said Virgos are awesome. Yes. It's a grounding energy and it is a skills like it wants to be able to gain the skills, understand the things, organize things. So I was just actually talking to Stephanie and saying that this is a time when you're setting your intentions for the new moon and using the moon energy for this is really beautiful time for the self-care because Virgo is very specific and deliberate and
Mm.
intentional. So whatever those self-care goals that you have or those things that you realize you need to get in order, those
Okay.
things that you've kind of had lingering in your mind like, I do need to make that appointment. I do need to really getting a little bit more focused in on those activities, those actions that are going to get you back into like the reset and realignment. And then of course if you have desires or but
Mhm.
definitely those desires that are lining up with order and with you even with how you're communicating because Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So that Mercury energy is about communication. So it's a really
Mm.
good time though for purposeful self-care and intentionally really setting, I need to start this new whatever I need to do
Whatever that
for my
is. Okay.
yeah, for that self-care. Yeah.
Interesting, because I imagine, like, sometimes this time of year is when some people, like, without that knowledge, without that insight, start to kinda slow things down. This is like I have a client who works in the fitness industry. And when she had a brick and mortar gym, this would be the time of year when things would slow down. People would start to like come to the gym a little bit less because they're getting into like pre holiday season, which is like
Mm.
between November and January when everybody's like, I'll get to that stuff later. I'll put that on my new year, new me to do list.
Yes,
They'll kind of like bypass it. But
yes.
I think embracing the opportunity for new beginnings now, like you said, harnessing the energy of the new moon, specifically a new moon in Virgo, seems like a great time for people to start to consider what newness can I start to embrace in my life now? And also, how can I support myself as I'm navigating through changes? So
Yes.
I know
Yes.
for me, change used to be a really like scary word. I'm like,
Mhm.
change, change. No, what do you mean? Why must things change? What are you talking about? I like the way things are right now.
Mm.
But over time, I've learned that change is, well, one, it's constant. We're constantly changing, even on a cellular level, we're changing. And of course, the seasons are changing, and our bodies are changing, and our mindsets and our perspectives are changing. So, when you think about your approach to navigating unexpected changes, what are some things that you do to care for yourself while you're navigating unexpected change?
Yeah. So I actually always I change a lot. Like I embrace change, but that's when I know and I can anticipate change. So the unexpected change throws me off
Yeah, yeah.
very much so. I am the planner, and I don't mind changing the plan each
Mhm.
day. But if it's an unexpected, like, oh wait, what? I have to do a lot of regrounding kind of stuff. So things that get me, I got to get back to my to-do list. I got to get back into
Mhm.
whatever routine. I got to get back into and this week has been a little bit wonky because I started at the university I teach at. This was
Mhm.
my first week of teaching this week.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I didn't have to teach all summer. Whew. And so when you have like 3 or 4 months of no teaching, and then I was like, and then I taught like every day this week. Like yesterday, I taught for 4 hours, and I was just like, I got home and I was just like, oh my God, oh my God. Like I was so, I
I
was
don't want to do
so,
this anymore.
I was just so off in traffic.
Mm.
Listen, those of y'all who are watching, if you're in Chicago, what the hell? What is going on? What happened? Our traffic is bad.
Apparently, everybody left LA and went to Chicago this summer. I don't know, but
The traffic was the past 2 days. But anyway,
Mhm.
so yeah, so I had to come home and, I actually, when I came home yesterday, I ate a little and I went to bed. Like I was just like, I need to just
Wiped
start
out.
over the
Yeah.
next day. So there's a lot of start over energy for me when I know that there's a new change and I need to get myself together. What about you? What are you
Yeah, I
doing?
would say pretty similarly. I mean, I think this probably goes for most people. It's the changes that we know are coming, we can mentally prepare. We know, okay, so work is going to be coming up in a couple of weeks. And even if something unexpected like traffic shows up, at least we kind of knew, like, okay, I'm going to go back to work and I need to kind of prepare. But
Right.
the unexpected changes are the ones that I think are more challenging to navigate, like within your household. My partner and I cohabitate, and she had an unexpected change at work a couple weeks ago
Mm, mhm,
where she was called in on a day off, which is never a good sign.
mm.
Never a good sign. I'm going to tell you this right now. I am not an HR rep. I currently only employ one person, but if they call you in on your day off, it's usually not to
Yeah, I
promote
get it.
you.
Yeah.
And so she got called into work on a day off, and she called me maybe like an hour or so after she arrived and just told me that, she had been let go. And that was a
Mm.
huge unexpected
That's a
change.
huge
It's a huge
yeah, that's a
unexpected change
massive.
because there were already plans in motion and we were looking at moving and things like that
Oh,
happening and like other
wow.
shifts going on. And again, this time of year is not ideal to be looking for work. So it was one of
Right.
those, what I call like an oh shit moment where I'm like, whoa, okay, so I have two choices. I can either panic and spiral about something that I have no
Mm,
control over,
mm,
or I can operate from a place of just acceptance and say, like,
mm,
okay, this is happening. How can I take really good care of myself while, of course, supporting her? But how can I take really good care of myself? And something that I recognized was letting go of that need to fix it, because sometimes change needs to run its course. And when we try to fix things in the middle of a cycle of change, we can sometimes disrupt the course of it, which makes it even harder for us to improve.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Keyshawn, you are so calm and collected. I would have been starting the show. Y'all, I
Let
had
me
this
tell
thing
you.
happen to me. Yes.
I've had a couple of weeks to process it. So yeah.
I've been like, y'all, I don't know if I can do this today. So blessings to you and your partner, because I know that,
Thank you.
the job situation, especially in the way society is rolling these days, can be very unsettling. So sending a lot of positive energy
Thank you.
to you for all of that. But that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
it
Yeah.
is. It's a lot to navigate. And like Talisa said in the comments, once I get past the initial shock, keeping my routine helps me embrace unexpected change.
Whoops, wrong
Absolutely.
one. I'll put
It's
the right one up here.
the
There we
initial
go.
shock,
Yes.
whether it's loss of a job or loss of a relationship, friendship, romantic, whatever, loss in general, is a huge change. And I think that once we allow ourselves to feel the initial, like, whoa, okay, didn't know that was going to be happening, and then moving into, I would say maybe problem solving, but sometimes even moving quickly into problem solving can actually create more stress versus giving
Yeah.
ourselves an opportunity to just be in that acceptance stage, or starting off with, embracing, like, okay, so this is happening. I wasn't expecting it. Like, even being in traffic coming home from work, it's like, oh shit, wasn't
Yeah.
expecting to take 3 hours to get home today.
Right.
Okay. Am I going to get out of my car and start walking? Probably not. Guess I better find a podcast to listen to, or call a friend that I want to talk to, because all I can do is just accept what's happening right now. So,
Yeah.
can you share a little bit about what your, like, process of acceptance looks like
Mm.
when you're met with something unexpected, or an unexpected shift?
Yeah. So I will say this, when because as you were just describing that, I was trying to reflect on times where I had unexpected, significant
Mhm.
changes, like, not just kind of the run of the mill kind of things, but like
Yeah.
significant. I will say that typically there is this weird calmness that usually comes to me. Like and I don't know where that comes from. I mean, I can always say a lot of astrological reasons why I think it's
Mhm.
there, but I definitely, when I know something is a jarring or like a big, then I quickly say, okay, let's do what we need to do. Everything is figure outable. Let's make this, we're going to be okay. Like that's probably
Mhm.
my biggest things, is just constantly, we're going to be okay. And from now we're going to, and I detach pretty quickly from the emotional component
Mhm.
and get more to the, what are the things that we need to do
Right.
to, and I'm saying this way, I'm not saying that this is how my brain literally, but in hindsight, what are the things we need
Yeah.
to do and what's going to keep things safe? Like for me,
Yeah.
safety is like, is there blood here? It's like, is this a life death? Now I will say
Right.
this, experiencing something as traumatic as like someone passing suddenly, I mean,
Mhm.
that's its own kind of energetic thing.
Right.
But if it's outside of that, if it's something else that's just like, okay, we have to make room for this, I think I detach pretty quickly from the
Yeah.
emotion. I actually, during this time, of us taking a hiatus, a very, 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 very dear friend of mine got a diagnosis of cancer. And it
Mm.
felt to me sudden. It felt like, wait, what? And the way he delivered that news to me was like, wait, what? And it was
Mhm.
very, very, very jarring for me. And I had to, like, I said, okay, I need to just, and I saw how quickly I disconnected emotionally,
Mm.
but then I was upset for, because I'm like, no, I need to connect to the, because I know I'm upset. I know this
Yeah.
is really bothering me. But it was hard. And I finally, it took some days for me
Mhm.
to, but I quickly kind of disconnected and then made it about like, Kim, what do you need? What do I this?
Yeah.
Have you did this? Da, da, da. So I think I go into, yeah, kind of disconnect, get grounded,
Mhm.
find out kind of the steady, and then later that emotion, I will allow it to come eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually.
I
Yeah.
can relate to that. I think sometimes, if we know that we have the ability to sort of compartmentalize our emotions and, like, put them over here, and we bring in critical thinking and we put it over there, we kind of bring in problem solving and we put it over here, that when an unexpected change or unexpected shift happens, we're going to have that initial emotional response, but how long we stay in that is going to vary, of course, like person to person, or like you said, it's going to vary depending on the severity of what that unexpected change might be, or what that shift might look like, in, like you said, experiencing loss of a person, or versus, loss of a job or loss of a home, all very, like, emotionally traumatic experiences. However, I think that the amount of effort that we put into solving, like, for instance, what you shared, the best thing you can do is support your friend.
Right.
The best
Right.
thing that you can do. That's the only thing, so to speak, that you can really do to
Right.
approach that. Just like with my partner, I can't, I mean, I would love to employ her, but, the budget for my company does not support multiple employees right now. But the best thing I can do is to, like, help her reframe a resume, or give her some positive, love and light as she goes out into, looking for work or opportunities and interviews and things like that. But I think, like,
Yeah.
getting to a place where we're able to not only navigate to the point of acceptance when it comes to changes, but really giving ourselves room to embrace the newness. Because, as we
Mm,
know, sometimes, as cliche as it sounds, when one door closes, another one opens. And sometimes we're so attached to the way things are that when an unexpected change happens, sometimes it's Source's way of saying, oh, no, 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 I closed that door. Done with that. And it's like, but wait, nobody told me. I didn't get an email, a notification. I didn't know we were changing. And it's like, oh no, we're moving on. And
Yeah.
that's something I've been conscious of, is especially when it comes to things that I'm calling into my life or things that I want to manifest, to be very aware of what those things are, because the relationship I have with the universe right now, she on some other level. She's like, oh, remember that time you thought about that thing that one time when you're walking? Here it is. I'm like, oh, girl, okay.
Yes.
All right. I wasn't
Well,
ready.
I'm
I
so
wasn't
glad
ready.
I'm so glad you brought up our friend universe, because I always say when these sudden changes happen and it was out of our, we didn't do something wrong, or, it
Right.
was not coming back to
Yeah.
haunt us. It was a legit, this is just a shift, a major
Mhm.
shift. I really think that's one of the most powerful ways universe is talking to us, because there's never a major shift like that that's not ultimately out to actually protect us and
Right.
to get us in position for whatever this next part of our leg of our journey is supposed to be. So that's another place I tend to go
Mhm.
is, like, all right, you know, it wasn't like I did something and now I'm waiting for, the
Right.
things to come back to me. But this is clearly God, universe, sources, self, or universes and higher sources, self saying it's
Yeah.
time to get you in this position.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, I'm in that position now. And then just know this is for your good. This is,
Just
we
know.
put you in this because this is for your good. Yeah.
Exactly. Because how many times do we say, you know what, I'm going to change something? I can speak, for myself, and my friend Talisa can attest to that as well. There's been times that I'm like, okay, girl, I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to change it. I'm going to change my exercise routine. I'm going to change it. You're going to hold me accountable, right? We're going to hold each other accountable. We're going to do this together. Okay, cool. Yes. And like you make up your mind and you get to like day 9 and you're like, but actually, I really want to have 7 tacos tonight. So that change that I said I was going to make, we're going to get back to that. You know what I'm saying? That's sometimes how we approach changes when we're the one navigating it, versus
Yes.
with source or universe is like, oh no, I'm navigating this. You get in the passenger seat. We're going to make some changes here. Whether you ready or not.
Right. Exactly. The health thing, like literally, because I did a whole detox and I was, feeling, oh, look at this. Valerie said day 9. How about day 3?
Day
I was about
3,
to say,
yes,
I'm with you,
Valerie,
Valerie.
yes.
I'm like, she made it all the way to day 9. But yeah,
Day 9, it's like that's a full week and a
in
weekend.
two
It's like it's the
days.
extra. It's
Yeah.
midweek on week 2 is when when it starts to waver.
Right. For me, I can kind of get like a 2 week and then it's like, but I did do a detox, in August, and it was a really good one. I didn't feel that deprived. I think that's why I didn't like completely fall apart. But I was starting to recently feel, I'm like, oh Lord, I'm gonna get on the scale and my little 7 pounds off is gonna be. And I'm like, I was all depressed. I got on it and I was still okay. And I'm like, okay, but
Good.
that means though, that don't mean now go get the cookie. You know what I
That
mean?
does not
Like
mean
for me,
that.
so but I'm curious to ask you, so embracing new beginnings. So since you gave the example of what your partner and you guys, with the change in job
Mhm.
situation, um, how do you, or how are you embracing this new beginning? Maybe just emotionally, and then maybe what are some things you're doing to kind of just get yourself so that this isn't like complete
Like a big
frustration.
scary thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, one of the things is I am now the head of household, which is exciting for me financially. I was like, oh, well, because as universe would have it, as my partner was getting called into work to be let go, I was having a meeting to get a raise. And I
Oh,
was like, oh, well, I mean,
wow.
okay,
Okay.
that was an
See,
interesting
here we
shift.
go. There we
That was
go.
There we go.
There we go.
So embracing the newness of this, I guess, like fiscal responsibility is something
Mm.
that I haven't experienced in a while. Like I've been used to being the head of the household, prior to my current relationship, myself, my son, it was just the two of us. And while I was kind of rebuilding my business, my partner was the primary, breadwinner earner in our household. So that shift happened. And part of me embracing it is recognizing the responsibility, of course, that comes with that. Again, I've never supported a partner before in this way. So
Mm,
that was also new for
mm,
me
mm,
to I've supported my child, but never supported a partner. So I also realized that I am very good with money. I'm very good with sticking
mm.
to a budget, which feels really good for me because I haven't really gotten to like exercise or like flex that muscle before to say like, oh
Yeah.
no, we're good. And there's
Yeah.
groceries in the fridge. And no, we're not going out to eat every week. And that Beyonce concert, I hope you enjoy. It's still
Have
out there. But
fun.
so I'm
Ah.
recognizing that my like money habits that I've been working on for years are actual habits now. They're not just like fad things that I would do here and there. So another part of embracing that sense of responsibility and that really privilege, I would say, to be the provider has given me a sense of empowerment, which is not something that I
Wow.
really recognized that I was going to need as much as I did. And now
Mm.
experiencing it feels good. I feel really proud of myself being able to do that.
Y'all hear this testimony? See, this is what I'm talking about. When I was talking about the universe puts us in position to protect us and to do something that's doing better for us, even
Yeah.
though in the face of it all, it looks I I love that. That's huge, Keyshawn. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, I'm very
That's
proud.
really huge. And for I think for your partner, what's really such a blessing about that is, she can breathe. You know what I mean? So that as because obviously there's a lot she's navigating now,
Of
right?
course.
There's a lot of that because our careers tie into our identities, tie
Yeah.
into our worth, tie into all of those things. So when that shift comes without us having the complete control of it, there's a lot you have to start to kind of just weigh and reevaluate. So having the safety to be able to do that and not feel the pressure like you like, well, you the one, so you better hurry up and figure this out, which is a lot of times, what happens,
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Yeah. It's a good
That's
feeling.
huge.
It's a good feeling. And I think it's
Yeah.
sometimes too when we're embracing new beginnings, I think something that's really valuable is like Talisa said in the comments is acceptance. Is recognizing that what was isn't and
Mm.
what is. And when it's a new beginning, whether it's a new job, a new relationship, a new diet, a new lifestyle, a new location, a new home, what was isn't. What is. And the sooner that we're able to embrace what is and release the attachment to what was, it makes stepping into that newness a little more comfortable, a little less daunting. It actually feels exciting in a lot of ways because sometimes when we're so attached to what was, we get stuck in a grieving phase for what was. We get stuck a little bit mourning what was, and it can actually take away from the excitement of experiencing the newness that's happening.
We have to put a pin in that, Kishan, because Talisa said the chair. No, the choir said the chair. I can't read. The choir is saying amen. Amen and amen, Talisa. Thank you. Because I'm about to say we got to put a pin in this. I want to say hi to my brother, Ayatoro. Greetings, my dear. Greetings back to you. This is Ayatoro may be we met in fourth grade. I think fourth grade at a math we were both good in math, so we had to go to some little special school for those who were good in math.
That's cool.
I don't even know if he really. Do you remember that, Ayatoro? Anyway, okay, because that's how we actually kind of met, and then we ended up going to.
Wow.
Then
That's
we ended up
cool.
at the same middle school and then high
Oh,
school,
that's so
and we've
cool.
been friends forever. So,
That's
but I want to put a pin in what you just said, because to Talisa's part, amen, amen. So, can you repeat a little bit of what because I want people to kinda understand. You just said something really important. Can you kinda just repeat the ending of what you were just saying as far as
Yeah, absolutely. We get really attached to our present experiences, whatever they might be. So when change is on the horizon, whether expected or unexpected, part of what prevents us from really embracing the new beginning is our attachment to what was. And part of what I found valuable is reminding yourself that what was isn't and what is is.
Yeah.
And while we might appreciate or acknowledge or even honor what was, we can't get stuck in it. Because if
Yeah.
we're stuck in what was, then we're preventing ourselves from experiencing some of the excitement of the newness of the new beginning that we're stepping into.
Yes. Yes, the attachment, that was the word. I was like, she said this word though that I wanted to really piggyback on beyond
Yeah.
the, what was and that that she Talisa said at the end, the
Yeah.
attachment. And
Yeah.
this is, ladies and gentlemen, and as Black women particularly, I just know because I talk to my girlfriends, and when we go through, especially relationships and jobs and these things that we have really attached ourselves to
Mhm.
and put our value in and said, this is our worth based on this thing, whether it be that relationship, that
Mhm.
marriage, that career, that job, and then that thing is taken away, or there's something really volatile going on, and we need to embrace something different. We need to embrace, and that attachment piece gets so heavy. I have to work really hard with people when I'm coaching, but then also just with, when I'm supporting people, like, to your point, there's something that means this is happening for us to see this other part of ourselves. So if
Mhm.
we can just remember, Valerie said, make a t-shirt. Talisa, hi Rudy. I see Rudy is on here. Talisa said we have to practice the art of detachment. And I heard someone say um unattachment to, so that,
Unattached.
yes, to also to suggest not to just like cut ourselves off, but just don't identify ourselves with always. Like we can still appreciate what that was and, love on it or whatever, especially when we're talking about like relationships, and that can be
Mhm.
friendships. That doesn't always have to be romantic spaces, but just these connectors that we've had, family,
Yeah.
where it's like, I have to unattach from this. It doesn't mean that I don't love you, doesn't mean that I still see you, I still acknowledge you. I just don't attach my identity to this. I don't attach
Mhm.
all that I have to this. I see it separately so that
Right.
I can be my whole self and not be attached to the idea of whatever that was. And so that was a word, Keyshawn, that was a word. And I think it's super, super important. Which is, I'm glad you repeated it. What was was. What
What
was is
was.
was,
What
what
was
was
isn't, and what
isn't,
is.
and what
Yes.
is. What
Yeah, and
is
that's
is.
real. I mean, the practice of non-attachment or unattachment is very Buddhist. The practice of non-attachment is one of the foundational pillars of Buddhism, which is recognizing that everything that we have the privilege of interacting with, whether it's a person, a plant, a pet, an environment, an experience, a location, we have the privilege of that momentary interaction where it is. And if we're practicing non attachment, we're allowing ourselves to be in a constant state of appreciation for those
Yes.
interactions
Yes.
without developing attachment to whatever is on the other side of that. And I know sometimes it's easier said than done, especially I would say the most challenging time or experience to practice non attachment is between parents and children
Oof. Yep.
because we truly believe that they are ours, especially for birthing mothers who have carried children. There's this feeling of, I gave you life, quite literally. And it's like, yes,
And
and I am also a mere vessel that you passed through to live your own life. And so, exercising, like you said, Kenya, non attachment doesn't mean non caring. It doesn't mean non loving. It doesn't mean non appreciative. It just means I am I am intentionally choosing to operate in non-attachment for my own well-being so that when
yes.
you change or when you do something that disappoints me or when the relationship goes through a shift or a transition, my identity doesn't go along with it.
Yes. Keyshawn, you're on fire. You're on fire today. You're on fire. Because
She said, "Write a
yes,
handbook."
yes, you're right.
Girl,
Yes,
I'm working
you're
on it.
right. A
Page
handbook.
1,
You're
parenting.
yes,
They're not
yes.
yours. Page 2.
Parenting. Listen. I want to spend just a moment because I think our age group, a lot of us who are, approaching this empty nest space, or,
Mhm.
where our kids are truly starting to get adulting spaces, how you start creating these new relationships with them and going fully into the non-attachment, but still, trying to be there and not tell them everything to do. It's been interesting. I actually was well prepared because my son was trying to create that at the age of 3, So
Mhm.
so it prepared me for that. But I think this is important for us. I'll say this as a parent only because I see so many times when our kids don't do what we want them to do, we attach that to our identity, like we did something wrong, like we are the responsible for their decision not to go and do this, or no, this does, or that their decision to do something very different is somehow reflective on you, and being attached to this idea that you had for your child. And that goes even with relationships too. If we get too attached to, that's why I don't like seeing relationship goals. And I don't like that. I don't like that because you get too attached to thinking that's how relationships should look, and
Mm.
that's what we need it to be a good relationship. And it's like, no, there are many ways to do relationship. Many,
Right,
many, many, many ways to do relationship. And so
right.
if we don't, get too attached, one, to a theme of a way, but also whatever relationship we're in. Um, and you said such a big pivotal thing that whatever happens, I still have the all of me, the whole of me, even if this has to shift into a different direction, maintaining
Right.
the hold of me, which is those of you in relationships, whether it be family, friendships, whatever, just really keep embracing you and
Yeah.
all of who you are and nurturing you. So that whatever the growth of that relationship or the shift, you're still really have a good handle on yourself.
Right. Right. No, that's real. And I mean, I think that's probably some of the most challenging experiences for folks to navigate when it comes to accepting change or embracing the newness is, coming out of a relationship. Like I was watching somebody on TikTok who had been in a 4-year relationship. I don't know this woman at all, but her content is engaging, so I've been following her experience. She was in a relationship for 4 years and they've, chosen to go their separate ways, and she's saying, I'm never going to love again. I'm just going to be single forever. And it's like, that's the initial shock, the initial shock of an ending. But I think part of embracing the new beginning, even on just in the context of relationships, is recognizing the possibility of what you're going to discover in the time that you spend by yourself or in the time that you spend exploring new connections and new relationships. And I know sometimes it's, some of the shit's easier said than done. I get it, y'all. I don't have it all figured out either. I'm just speaking from like lived experiences. But I think when we think about the concept of new beginnings as a whole, it, our lived experiences do have an impact on how quickly or easily or simply we're able to embrace it. For folks who maybe moved
Yeah.
around a lot as a kid. I moved around a lot as a kid. I'm the oldest of 5 siblings or 4 siblings, and I didn't go to the same schools all the time like my siblings did. I didn't live in one house and grow up in one
Mm,
neighborhood. I moved around a lot. So it took a long time for me to really feel like grounded anywhere. So embracing the change of like where I lived, kind of easy for me. I'm like, oh, I'll put it in my bag. I'll put it in my suitcase.
yeah,
I packed light. But for another person, embracing the change of moving or relocating might be really challenging. So
absolutely.
so when you think about like how your cultural background or even like your personal values might influence how you approach change, those are things to consider too. Some people grew up very grounded, same neighborhood, same school, same friends, same church, same environment. So the idea of being nomadic or moving around a lot as an adult might be really jarring for them versus a person like myself, it might not be that big of a deal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Really, really good points. And I want to also say, to encourage, I know one of the things I've had to do because that whole relationship piece and the moving piece, I didn't move a lot as a child, but I actually have moved a lot as an adult. and I and I was okay. I'm okay. Like right now, I'm planning to live, as my youngest son is finishing high school this year
Mhm.
and moving into his adulthood, I'm planning kind of this next phase of life. And I don't have one place I want to live in. I have a
Mhm.
few places I want to live in. So I'm arranging things so that I can live in multi places. And it's so funny because yeah, my sister, we didn't move around a lot, and she said, like, are you sure you want to just be ever? I'm like, yeah, I actually feel really that makes me feel secure. Like that. I'm thinking if I have to stay, I've stayed in Chicago for 20. Chicago is the longest I've lived anywhere for 20
Yeah.
plus years, and I'm over it. Like I want to, no disrespect to Chicago, but I'm ready to experience, here for a little while. I don't have one magical place
Yeah.
that I see myself being in. So I definitely kind of want to keep going in the different spaces. But one of the things that I had to learn in the divorce, and we were going to talk about divorce,
That's right.
and then that's when we decided to take our hiatus. We were like, we need a break.
We're gonna come back and talk about that.
So we're gonna come back. But I will say this, that person of breakup, and then it's like, I don't ever want to be there. I'm done with men. I never. Totally get that. Totally
Yeah.
get it. But if someone would have told me that I would have met the partner that I have in the time frame that I have, and
Mhm.
that I would have totally been like, you know, n- n- but I kept myself open to the possibilities. Like, okay, I don't have to marry this guy.
Right.
You just getting to know him. And 3 years later, I'm like, oh yeah, this 3 years, huh? And it feels really good. But even in that space, I'm not being attached to, oh, 3 years means you have to then go get married or you have to go do. It's like, no, I just am gonna keep enjoying the space, and again, not be attached to this idea that we've put around. So I've had to do a lot of this embracing new beginnings and change
Mhm.
stuff as it relates to relationship.
Yeah,
That's a
absolutely.
big thing. It's taught me so much to learn how to stay in the moment and to
Yeah.
be non-attached. And yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, like sometimes when we're so stuck and, like you said, attached to even like a certain like system of like,
Oh my
this is
gosh.
how it should be, this is how relationships should look, this is how my career should look. And it's like, says who?
Who?
Who said? And whoever they are, tell them to stop shooting on you and stop shooting on yourself because you get to decide.
Absolutely.
You're at the helm. Yes, the universe is like running the show, but the universe is running the show based on the map that you've already drawn for what you want your life to look like. So
Yes.
you get to decide, moment to moment, breath to breath, experience to experience. You get to decide what it's going to look like. And sometimes you have to be the one to disrupt the flow of your life, especially not serving you or if it's not satisfying you, if you're not waking up in the morning saying, I love my life, if that's not your feeling, then it's like, okay, there might be an opportunity to kind of mix some things up, to maybe let go of some things that you've been holding on to explore some new opportunities, whether it's living in different places or exploring a new style of dating or a new type of relationship or a new location, a new job. Because sometimes we wait for change to happen to us instead of
Mm.
initiating change ourselves.
Absolutely. When we know, and this kind of goes to Lisa, she was saying she gets clues on some things.
Yes.
And that's I mean, I do think that typically there are a few things that are just completely sudden. Okay.
Of course.
There are those things. But a lot
Yeah.
of times we get some clues in our spidiness, we can sense the things kind of
Mhm.
going. But depending on where we're at in our process, our progress, whatever, we'll tap in or we won't tap in. But I love that you're saying, this idea of not, and this is, you guys, this is such a beautiful time now to just be, like, really seriously. This is the most freedom we've probably ever had in terms of, I don't want to do this way.
Right.
I don't want to be this way. I don't want to have this way. I
Right.
mean, this is in my lifetime, from what I have witnessed, this has been the most permission slips. Now, I'm not saying that means it's
Mhm.
easy,
Mhm.
but we have way more, there's so much more acceptance
Right.
even. of choosing life. But even if you don't have the acceptance, there's so much more we actually can choose and navigate. And we have to, but I think we get attached, to your point, to old systems, old
Yeah.
ideologies, old, these traditions that never maybe really served us, for the truth of who we are.
Right.
And especially those of us over this age of 40, this is one of the biggest things you do start to learn, is like, oh, I do have control over my
Right.
decisions.
Right.
So yeah.
I do get to decide what time I'm gonna go to bed or get up in the morning. I do
Even
get
if
to
it's at
decide.
7 in the afternoon, in the evening, I'm going
Even
to
if it's
bed.
at 7:45 when the sun goes down. But yeah, it's like I think sometimes if we don't like enforce an opportunity to change and we're waiting for something to happen to us, then that sometimes can cause a person to feel like they're not afforded choice. It's like, well, I don't
Mm,
have a choice because
mm,
XYZ happened, or I don't have a choice because this is going on. I don't have a choice. And it's like, well, no, you always have a choice. Sometimes you can ignore those signs or those clues that come from the ancestors or the universe or source or wherever your clues come from, and then you're in a situation where source is like, okay, I tried to tell you this change was coming. Here it is. And then you're like, well, I don't have a choice. And it's like, well, I mean, you did. You always have
you
choice.
always have
And I
choice.
think that's something else to consider when you're thinking about embracing new beginnings. You always have choice. You always have autonomy. You always have independence. It might be disruptive. It might be unexpected. It might change the program. Your family, your friends, your partners might look at you like, "Girl, what you doing?" I'm doing something different. I'm doing something different because I'm inviting change as opposed to just accepting it or coping with it or dealing with it. I'm inviting change, and
Mm,
sometimes that can be a little scary for us to be in the practice of I'm inviting change. If you're experiencing financial, lack or scarcity, invite some change in that. If you're experiencing health challenges, invite some changes to your health, invite changes to your relationship, invite changes to your lifestyle and see what
absolutely.
you end up with.
Yes. Yes and yes. Drop the mic. And so like I said, I like a lot of change. Like, I invite change often, and I do get a lot of commentary. And now I've just learned, like, and you're a multi-passionate. So I think you too, like, those of us who like to flip things up, whether it be within our career or our
Yeah.
lifestyle or just what have you. Once you do it and you see how not only did you survive, but you
Mm,
thrived, and you experienced a feeling that was even better than what you thought.
right.
Oh, the change, because it's like, you know what? In fact, you have to be careful not to change too much and to actually settle down a little bit
Right.
and embrace the new beginning and not always change the new beginning. But that's something that I have to constantly work on. But yeah, no, this has been so good. I'm
Yeah.
so glad you picked this topic.
Me too. This has been great. This has been great, and I
Yes.
appreciate all the comments and the feedback. I see Talisa said, "I can't wait till my crotch fruit graduates from high school. Go Kenya." Oh, yeah, she
She
has a
said
son who's a
crotch fruit.
sophomore or junior in high school. I know Talisa has a high schooler who's gonna be wrapping up sooner than later as well.
Yeah, girl, it's a season. I'm excited. I'm super. I mean, this is my baby boy. So that is, listen, that's, and he is, yes, if I could still put him in bed, like, he is my baby. Like, I do still kind of see him as my baby boy. But
Yeah.
I'm super proud of him. Like, we were talking today, he's getting his, all his stuff ready for applications for colleges now. And,
Mhm.
it's an exciting time for him while my oldest is all the way adulting and, doing totally different thing. That's why I said, don't be getting attached to these kids and
Don't
what they no, no,
Right.
no. No, no, no. He has taught me that. But yeah, no, this has been really wonderful. Well, we decided, because we are attempting to embrace our new beginnings and navigate our changes, that that we, instead of being here weekly, we said that we'll probably be here monthly. That's what we said we would start off with,
Yeah.
just because we got a lot going on, y'all. We got a lot going on. Yeah, yeah. So we don't know when next month because we
We
haven't
gonna let y'all
decided.
know. It might be what is it might I was gonna say it's like a comet. You better make sure you're subscribed to both of our mailing lists if you're not already. Make sure that you're following both of us on socials, where the socials lead you. Make sure you're connected via our websites. I know Kenya's site can probably go up on screen. You can find me at
Yeah, we
Keyshawn
can put
Rains pretty
all
much
of ours.
everywhere. Make sure you're
Yeah.
subscribed to our YouTube channels, because we're following a creative flow, and what I'm grateful for is you and I are aligned in that sense, that we are making rest a priority. We're making our creativity also a priority and a privilege. And I think that coming together at least once a, maybe it's gonna be the next new moon, girl. I don't know. Maybe
It
we go
might be the new
astrologically.
moon. I know.
I don't
Maybe the
know.
new moon. It probably will fall around the
Probably
new
will
moon
be right.
'cause
Yeah. Yeah.
yes. No, I appreciate you because and it's so funny because to your point, I'm a big stickler with like who I share space with when it comes to work or when it comes, and
Yeah.
this isn't work per se, guys, but you
Right.
still have to plan, you got to
Of
coordinate, you got to do
course.
all of that. Um, because I can't, I have to have freedom and I have to have the ability to not feel like I need the person to be very independent and so I had now realized that because of that feeling, I really only draw in kind of those people. So I really appreciate you're very independent and like, girl, yes, this is fine, not too attached on this. Speaking of attachment, but at the same time, really wanting to do this,
Yeah,
still not
absolutely.
just saying forget it or,
Right.
whatever. So,
Yeah, no, these
yeah.
conversations are really valuable. And I think that when people, especially those who have a chance to tune in live, are able to be a part of the conversation and contribute to it. And I think the topics that we've chosen, we haven't even gone through our whole list of topics yet, but the topics that we've chosen or brainstormed and selected, I think are very relatable. And I hope that they spark additional conversation, because so many things come up. It was about is of course my mother's calling me. It's like I'm busy. No, but this topic was about navigating. We also talked a lot about attachment and non-attachment. So there's so many things that I think come through because
Yeah,
we just have a natural cadence and a natural alignment in our discussions that I think is really valuable. So it's a pleasure for me to be a part of it.
I love it. Well, everything you just said, ditto, ditto, ditto. And we will be back. We don't know when. Y'all need to subscribe. And you see, we have our handles, right? So at Keyshawn
Yeah.
Rains, at Kenya MJ Music, whatever platform you're on, pretty much. If you
Keyshawn
do
Rains,
that.
you can find me. TikTok,
Yeah.
Instagram, Twitter. I don't really tweet, or X, whatever it's
X.
called now.
X.
Mainly TikTok and Instagram. Those are the two socials that I'm the most active on, or KeyshawnRains.com. You can join my mailing list there. And I usually send out a newsletter or some sort of update to let you know about the show that we're going to be doing and the topic we're going to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, same here. Kenya MJ Music for IG, Facebook kinda, I don't know. TikTok, I actually only dedicate my TikTok to astrology. So
Okay.
I am not Kenya MJ Music on TikTok
Okay.
because I get tired sometimes of being Kenya MJ Music. So TikTok, I am Astro Thrive Guide. Ooh, and so I
Okay.
only do videos and commentary about astrology there. So that's my safe space for astrology. It's actually been really fun because a lot of people are tapping in there. So yeah, you can follow me there if you are really curious to hear about more astrology stuff, or just go to
Yeah,
findingyourvoiceafter40.com.
and
And
Kenya, you also do one-on-one astrological read,
yep, I
birth
do
chart
readings.
type. Okay,
I
yeah.
I officially claim it because I completed. I've been doing astrology forever, but I did an official training under a professional astrologer. It was a
Mhm.
16-week. Yes, it was. That was the other reason why I was like, oh Lord,
Oh
16.
Lord, I need some time to study.
Yes,
Yeah.
16 weeks, every week, 3 hours, studying astrology. So I officially, he was like, "You can say you're an astrologer." I said, well, I like saying I'm an astrology coach, but I do astrology readings at this point. I officially
Yeah.
can read your birth chart. So definitely, if you again go to the IG is probably the best place. If you go to Kenya MJ
Yeah.
Music, and there's a link, and there it gives all the services and um yeah, if you join one of my communities, we had Stephanie in here. I don't know if she's still in here, but she is
Mhm.
part of our Patreon community. And you can do check-ins with me once a month and do readings. And she and I always uncover all kinds of really, we had a really special uncovering today. So if you're
Good.
into astrology, which you should be, you really should, guys.
Yeah.
It's so much explained, so many things. It really
Yeah.
it is a beautiful tool. Then let me know. I'm happy to do a reading for you. So
Excellent. Yay.
all
This is great.
right. This
This has been
has
so
been
good.
fun. Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
so much, everyone. Gina said this was, I'm gonna put it on the screen. Thank you, Gina.
Oh, thank
She
you,
said this was
Gina.
a good
Appreciate
talk.
that feedback. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, always. And Gina's a part of the Patreon community as well. So
Nice.
I really appreciate her. And she's a sister friend. We've been knowing each other forever. We raising these boy.
Boy,
What
men,
do you call men
men,
child?
boys.
We both have our kids in that same range. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're going to end the recording. Share
Yep.
the video, subscribe wherever you're watching. And we will let you know when we are back. We will be back next month,
Yes.
possibly with divorce decisions, but I have another thing in mind too. So I have to
Okay.
discuss with Keyshawn. So yeah.
Yeah. Next month it'll be almost Scorpio season.
Yeah. We'll be in Libra. We'll be in
Libra,
Libra.
that's right. Libra
Libra
and
is
yeah.
the
Mm.
harmony,
Ah.
beauty, all of
Yes.
that. Yes. So we'll be in that. All right,
Cool.
guys. We'll talk to you guys
All right. See
later.
you later. Bye,
All right.
everyone.
Bye.